Good morning, everybody. Hello, everyone that's watching YouTube or Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. Everyone, good morning from us all. So for our real therapy talks today, I thought, what better way than finding magic? Because it's a subject close to my heart. I really do try and look through the eyes. I think they call it rose-coloured spectacles. I try and see the good in everything, and I know not everything is good. I'm not unaware, but I try and see the beauty and the good in everything that I do, and I try and be what I want more of in the world, what I want to see more of. I live like that, and in that process, I really, honestly, truly feel like I am magic and we are all magic. I really believe that, because I believe that we can be anything that we want to be when we really truly go and get it. Like I was saying before, Linda, now I was having words with my child a couple of nights ago, and I won't go into it in detail, but I was basically saying, if you want something, you have to take action. You have to go and get it, because nothing comes to you. And every dream that you ever have, you've got to make it into a reality, because you can. And you have to go for it and, use all the resources around you to get what you want out of life. And you can choose. This is your point to choose. You can either choose to watch mindless nothingness on YouTube for 4 hours, or you can choose to enhance your brain and learn and be more curious and do it yourself, because I'm not here to spoon feed you exactly what we're talking about. I'm not here to spoon feed you how to do this and read that. No, this is for you. If you're interested in something, he wants to be a detective. If you're interested in something, then you have YouTube. So choose what you're watching on YouTube. Learn about detectives, read books, expand your mind, expand your world, speak to people that are detectives. Now, there's my mum and dad's neighbour over the road, that she's becoming a detective. So speak to her. There's a wealth of opportunity out there to go and get, right? Create your flipping magic, because life is magic. Everywhere we look, we are surrounded by things that are just truly magic. And when you look up from that screen, or you look up from that phone, or you look up from wherever you are, and you notice every little thing around you, how blessed we actually are to live in this incredible planet, then we start seeing that magic unfold right in front of our eyes. And then we start noticing more of that, and then we start projecting more of that out. And that is how we become magic even more. So today, magic. Let's go to, that's Linda, my darling. Magic, we are. Together we are magic.
We are magicians, yes.
We are.
We are magicians. So let me be clear about this. You remember that I asked you what you meant by magic yesterday, because for me as a Christian, it's really important that I am clear what magic we're not talking about.
Yes, not black magic.
And I use there are many Christians who won't even use the word magic or magical. I do. I use it because I see things that appear to be, that's what I mean, that appear to be just magical. When I see clients and we, within 5 minutes, we've removed an issue, a bad feeling, and it's gone forever, and I know it will not come back. That seems magical. And so I was thinking as well, I was listening as you were speaking and thinking what it means to me. It's kind of a bit like Disney magic.
Yeah.
Tinkerbell, there was always a sparkle about her, wasn't there? There are kind of little trilly noises, and there's sparkly lights around magic. And so I was thinking, can we work with looking for the sparkle in life?
I have shivers
Can't
all
we?
over. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Look for the sparkle.
Yeah.
So because we work well with metaphor, don't we? We work well with analogy. That's the way our brain likes to work. It doesn't like too many words. So we can say, oh, well, when you're feeling this, then you need to do this, do that, and think about the other. It's all too many words. But we can hold in our mind, looking for the sparkle. And then it's easy to see where the sparkle isn't.
Yeah.
So scrolling Facebook, with everybody complaining about something,
Right.
there's no sparkle in Facebook at the moment. Not these days, I don't find anyway. It'll depend on who you're friends with and what groups you're in. And so I'm thinking as well, how do we do this for those around us? Because if we're seeing sparkle everywhere, that's fine. But how can we share the sparkle?
Energy.
Can we look for the sparkle in those we interact with?
You know what? I think you really do need to make your own sparkle as well, because the thing is, it can be very challenging for people that are in a dark place to find sparkle anywhere.
Yes,
it can.
Yes.
And it will take to the point where they don't want to feel like that anymore to change. So we can't give to someone what they don't want to receive. We can't.
No.
There's a blank wall. But what we can do is be a sparkle that people can be attracted to, and maybe like a moth to a light, and get some light to maybe share that with them, that they can ignite their own spark to ignite them.
I think it is, and it is, you're right, it is all we can do. For someone who is lost in depression or lost in anxiety or trapped in anxiety or anything of that nature, that I've experienced it myself years ago, and I don't expect to experience it ever again, but I have experienced it, and it feels like it's come onto you like a virus, as if you've just caught it. For me, it felt like one moment on one day, a bucket of doom was emptied over my head. That's what it felt like. And people were trying to cheer me up and saying, well, why don't you do this? And what about doing that? And bless him, my husband gave me a lot of money to go buy clothes. It's not about that. It was nothing like that at all. The clothes did nothing. He took me away for the weekend. I was stressed out of my mind, because I knew he would want me to be sparkly. And I didn't have any spark in me then. I just did not. I wanted to withdraw, that's all. So yes. So if we can be sparkle for those around us.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Susie?
Well, listening to you girls, I haven't prepared anything. I didn't think of anything. As Linda said, as a Christian magic, it's a bit of a tricky place to go. But I'm thinking of it in terms of miracles, like a miracle magic, and also in terms of the sparkles that she so beautifully described. But also it's the magic, because if we think of a magician, what is he doing? Actually, he's making you believe that something appears out of thin air.
Yep.
So if we are to go with this definition, that means that the appearance of something that we cannot explain could be the magic. For instance, like you were saying earlier, Danielle, materializing or creating something in your life, in good and in bad, it is a magic act, because it happens without us being aware of what's going on behind the scene. Because in reality, nothing actually happens out of thin air unless there is a miracle.
Yeah.
So there is, that's what I love about my religion and many others and many other spiritual paths, that beyond this like very concrete reality where I can't just materialize a pen, it's still materialized because somebody thought of it, somebody took the time to build it, and I bought it and it's here. But beyond this physical reality where there is always a reasonable, always an explanation, scientific explanation, and there's always action and effort in a way behind it, there is still this area where things can just happen that are a bit outside of this, that beyond it. And this is, to me, I think now I'm defining it as I'm speaking, this will be magic for me, is that which is beyond this world that we don't see. And it's in that stillness, it's in the nothingness, it's in the quietness, it's in the silence. It's that magic that we can reach and touch during the meditation. To me, that is magic, because it's magic in that sense of something can appear out of nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everything, the universe itself, appeared out of nothing. And we are coming out of nothing, and into nothing we shall return. So this, the magic of experience of life, of existence itself. So this is basically what I think. And just to paraphrase a little bit Einstein, who said that, we can act as if everything was a miracle, or act as if nothing was a miracle. There are just two ways to look at the world. So we can say that we can act as everything is magic, or act as if nothing is. So magic, if you want, in that sense of sparkles, Linda, you were saying, I think it's an attitude. It's simply in that willingness to see beyond. It's in that willingness to stay connected to that which you don't see, and to that which is beyond my five senses. Because in magic, what do? We're playing with the senses, right? In the perception. We make something as if, it just shows up and it changes places and magically appears and disappears. And in a way, we do that. We magically appear and will magically disappear. I mean, what a great act of magic is this, life itself, in a way.
Yeah.
And of course, there is a scientific explanation, it's the cells and the biological process. However, the universe itself appeared out of something. And it will disappear into something. So I think that's my point on this, is this attitude of, do you see everything? Do you choose to see everything as sparkly or not? Although it's not always required, and it's not always, I think it has it's like everything else. Everything else has its place and its time.
Yeah.
There are moments when it's appropriate to allow yourself to feel that whatever is there, and there's moments when it's appropriate to go into the sparkles. For me, for instance, today is the Holy Friday, and this is the day when Christ was crucified and died and suffered. So it cannot be like, I cannot just go into a state of, oh, magic, oh, that's super cool. There is also honoring that part of us, I think, that suffers, honoring that part of us that is crucified, honoring that part. So there is a place for it. I don't think that magic is appropriate all the time, neither, I think. I don't know, that's my personal opinion.
See, to me as well, I think magic ties in very, very, very closely with manifestation, because
manifestation, exactly.
Massively, because on an everyday basis, we all, whether we know it or we don't know it, manifest everything we see around us. The people that we attract, the car that we have, the house that we have, the money, luck or not luck that we have, the energy that we give out and that we receive. We're manifesting things on a daily basis. And that is just by the words that we speak, the thoughts that we believe, what we visualize, what we want our world to be, or what we can actually see. We are attracting that on a daily basis. And so by manifesting the things that you want or the things that you don't want, it's being very aware of it. And how we manifest. When I manifest, because I don't think to myself, I'm going to manifest this. I don't. But what I do is I see very clearly a vision of what I would like, what my goal would be. What would be my goal? And I can see myself living it, breathing it, being it, wearing it, doing it, smelling it, walking down the street with it. I see myself there. And I send that out. I'm just thinking about it. I just send it out and then I let it go and I just believe and I trust. And then I take action to go and get what I want. And that's how I've always lived my life. But what you don't see is all the unseen forces around us working together to make this happen. And that really is manifestation, is becoming just living and breathing, acting as if until and letting it go. Trust. It's a trust. It's a trust.
Well, what you're describing here, actually, Danielle, I think to me is more like explaining the act of magic.
Yeah, what
it's like when a magician comes and says, okay, this is what I do. I prepare this and then I do that and then I make you look there and then poof, I take it out from here. So this is basically what we're doing here. We talk about the act of magic, of manifestation, because they don't just appear out of thin air. How do we do it? Because there's this unseen part that happens that does either positive or negative things, create positive or negative experiences in life. Yeah. So
I love that, the unseen part.
The unseen part.
Magic is the unseen part. That's it. And what I'm seeing is that it always comes down to this choice. It always comes down to choice. Even when you feel you have no choice because of this bucket of doom, it still comes down to choice. And there will be forks in the road throughout your day where you could look for the sparkle or you could stay in the mud. And so for those that are struggling with that, I'd just like to encourage you that it is possible. You still have choice. You still do have choice. Look for your choice. Look for where your choices might be. Look for what choices you might be able to make. Because if the kids are bouncing off the walls and you're exhausted because it's bedtime and they will not go to bed and no, that might not be, the sparkle might be quite dim at that moment, but there will have been other times in the day leading up to that where you could maybe have chosen the sparkle.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, it's true, because see, that's what's, see, people that are into the manifestation and they manage to manifest a life that is corresponding to their expectations or to their dreams, and there's plenty of these, they probably do it without knowing it, and they probably don't know exactly what's going on there. And that's why, you know, we have all these authors and speakers that come and decipher it and are being interviewed to find out. Most of the books on money have been written after doing interviews with very rich people to find out what they do to get rich, right? Think and Grow Rich, I think what was that the title of that book. So most of them, they know what to do because they are interested in that. So the more you are fascinated or attracted by a certain outcome, the more you are, you know, the more chances you have to get to do it, because the mind works on materializing and on manifesting that aspect which preoccupies it the most. So with this category, we're fine, because even then, though they might not know what they're doing it anyway. Now, what we're talk about is people that are not at that level, that are not having this level of, you know, like success or having all the money or all the cars and the prosperity they'd like to have. How do we think of magic in these situations?
Do you know,
that's the key.
That is the key. And the thing is, we all start somewhere. And the little things make the biggest differences. And if someone's struggling, and it's doing things that bring you joy, raising your vibration in any which way you possibly can. Because on the days where you're not having a great day, or you're just feeling, I mean, I went through when I was ill, I just felt there was no way out, and I couldn't get better with my ears. You know, there was days when it was nothing. It was out of my control. I'd stopped different foods, you know. I'd done so many different things and seen many specialists, and there were so many things that I tried. This is only not so long ago, you know, and it's inflammation, but there was days when all I was focused. This is it. It's focus. All I was focused on was that.
Focus.
Focus. Yes, babe, yes. And so soon it gets to the point where, what can you do? You have to choose to switch that focus up. And as soon as you make that choice, and that choice is switched to a wider focus or something else that you can get buried deep into and learn about, or be curious about, or get excited about, something else that sparks you, that brings you joy. Once your focus shifts, then the heaviness lifts. It just does. And that is on your way to getting better and finding your magic.
So can we say there's a step further back we can take? We need to be able to say, no matter how it feels or looks, I am not powerless.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Don't we?
Beautiful.
Because that frees up the space to make a choice. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I've been doing a lot of work, of self-work, and I've had some amazing benefits from it. And what I've noticed, I've gone from being easily triggered, and then I can't stop myself. You can't stop me, and I can't stop myself. If I'm triggered, words are coming out of my mouth that even when I hear them, I think they're not right, but they're coming out, that's it. And I've gone from that to being able to just to not being triggered. It feels like not being triggered, and yet I notice the triggers. And what it gave me, I've experienced this twice now, and what it's given me is space and time. So I noticed something that previously would have been a trigger for me, being inappropriate in some way, bossy, or just not being pleasant. I've noticed it, and then it feels like there is acres of time, acres and acres of time to just ponder on that, to consider that. And my last experience was where I was thinking, well, does that matter? I've spotted something where my ex, I've spotted something where my ex has made a mistake, or he said something wrong, or that isn't what he said before, something like that. And I just sat calmly through a long conversation, noticing these things. And there was space around me. There was space in my head to just slowly consider, well, what will change if I tell him that? If I tell him that isn't what he said before, what will it change? Nothing. So there's like a mini processing, time for mini processing to go on.
Beautiful.
Now, I've forgotten what was I starting with there? Yes, so we need something. It could be lots of work, or we can look for shortcuts, can't we, to give us that space, the space around our issues. And if we are struggling with mood, then that's our issue. That is an issue, and it might not be a trigger or anything, but that is our issue. And we need to create space around that issue, space for movement, space to move in a new direction. Without that space, there only is the one direction, which is
so space is the magician then.
Yes,
space is the magician, that space that we create. And I'd rather look at that.
Yes.
Sorry, were you finished, Linda?
Yes.
Well, now I forgot what I wanted to say. But because if we look at magic only making objects appear, because this is our society, right? And excuse me if I dare to criticize it a little bit. We want too much of material things, which are good. But me, my background and my probably a monk previous life or something. I'm thinking that there are more important things in life than just the material. So I think being able to switch from one negative state to a state of surrender is magic in itself. And if we are considering magic to be a state of mind, then yes, Danielle, you are right. It's shifting that change, shift and change that state, going into the state of magic. And sometimes that state of magic could be a state of surrender. You see, because the way it goes with ups and downs, when you are into that down, and I've been there and I'm working with people that are there in that very low state, there is that ability to allow something to intervene is magic itself.
Yeah.
Remember, Linda, when we talked together and you prayed, we prayed together and I asked you to do something for me, and it magically shifted my mood the next day. But because you see that's the thing, because we have to also look at where that desire comes from. Is that desire of what I want to manifest comes from my heart and from my soul, or is just, the ego and, something that has been imposed to me by the society, do more, achieve more. Most of people suffer today because we don't get to keep up with all these expectations of our society to be more, do more, produce more, be successful, work hard. Maybe life is not only about that. And maybe magic is in being able to explore what life is about, and breathing and enjoying your children and enjoying your garden and little things like this.
Yeah.
So we also have to look at where the desire comes from, and then shifting that state. Sometimes when you reach that lowest of the lowest, from my experience, is in surrender. Is then when you can't do anything because you're telling you have to choose. Sometimes you can choose, Danielle. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just can't, you don't have the ability in that. The state is, the identification with the state is so intense.
No, I understand.
That you don't have that ability. And I want to be able, the people that are listening that are there, I want them to be able to relate to what we're talking to.
Of course.
And so when you are so down and so discouraged and you've reached that level, letting go, because see, that's, if you think of it that way, and if everything is like a circle or a big sphere, and then you are here, and then the more you search for a higher state, boom, 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 you reach the top of the sphere, and then poof, you go out. But what happens when you reach the lowest of the lowest? You go lower, lower, and lower, and lower, and you reach the bottom of the sphere, and if you dare to give up, you go through, and then poof, you're out. So you reach the same place, because all over the sphere, it's consciousness.
Yes.
So rather than trying to go from the lowest to the highest, which will be that magic, maybe it's right behind, right underneath, right behind that wall. If you dare to surrender through that state, is the magic. So that's what I want to make sure that people understand, that you don't have to go all the way. You can't go all the way up. You can't go all of the way up. And I've been through so many difficult and challenging situations this year that there were some moments when I just couldn't. And with all this experience that I have, years and years, study Ayurveda, yoga, and coaching. And when you're there, you're there. And life is bringing you someplace, and you have to go through it.
Yeah.
And then after the death, there is the resurrection. After reaching the bottom, if you dare, there is the magic. So to me, that's what it is. It's not just into, oh my God, all the time, everything sparkles. It's not.
That's wonderful, Susanna.
That was worded, That was
Yeah.
worded perfectly. And do you know what? It's the connections. The magic is in the connections that we make, not only with each other, but to ourselves and also to nature. And the magic is all around us, and allowing that. What you said, it was like the drop-through technique, what we learned at NLP.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. And that's the truth, because underneath that and underneath that and underneath that, you get to the same place.
Yes.
And that's the freedom. I think that's beautiful. Oh, you worded it so well.
Thank you. I'm impressed myself. No, I'm just I was not thinking of saying that. It just came out like this.
It just came out, like magic.
Like magic. See, that's magic.
It is. Words come out of my mouth. Words come out of my mouth as when I'm working with clients, ideas come into my head and words come out of my mouth that I have not previously heard. I don't know what they are till I hear them out of my mouth for the first time. And I believe that comes from being able to be in rapport with that client. That's where I think that manifests itself from. If you are close and you are and you are just you are both of you. You've only got the skin of that bubble between you.
Yeah.
And your bubbles are touching, and it's such a thin skin to a bubble, isn't it? So your bubbles are touching, and sometimes I know when I'm asking a client to choose a color to turn something into, and ask your unconscious mind, what color will help us to resolve this? I know the color. I know the color before they say it. There's a picture of it in my mind, and it's in my mouth as well. It's behind my teeth somewhere. And I know they're going to say blue or whatever it is.
No, but this is an excellent point. This is an excellent point. This is where the magic is, in the interaction between two people. And if we think of what we say in Christianism, join two of you in my name, and I'll be there. So I think, and remember, we even talked about that when we met, Linda, and we did that prayer together. You did that prayer with me. I think it's in that interaction. That's where the magic happens. This is where we come out of that, the rigidity of our environment, the rigidity of the mind, the rigidity of the physical existence. And then something this magical starts to happen. It's in the interaction and in the space that we create.
So do we need to learn to ask for help more? Do we need to learn, Brené Brown, I'm sure we've spoken of her before, talks about the need to be vulnerable. Do we need to be vulnerable and say to whoever's around, preferably not your children, but your older children, it's good. Do we need to be able to say, I feel like this. Can you talk with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you be with me? Can we just be together?
Yeah.
And in that interaction, you don't know then what, because it's magic, isn't it? You don't know what's going to come out of it. You might think, oh well, so-and-so won't have any advice to give me, but it's not advice you're looking for, is it? It's not advice, it's sharing their sparkle. This is the full circle. You want to share their sparkle through that bubble, that thin-skinned bubble.
I just had an idea now, because if we are to go with our definition that magic is making something appear out of thin air, where is it exactly in our mind that we can make something? What did I ask? Where is precisely in our life?
In our bodies. In our bodies.
Can we make something appear out of thin air? Where?
Where? For me or for
in general for us?
Well, visualization.
It's in the mind. Magic happens in the mind.
Yeah.
It's there that you can make a memory disappear, or make another memory appear. It's there that you can become a princess, or you can just erase a bad memory or process a bad memory. It's in the area or in the domain of our mind that we can make magic happen, because there everything is possible. Amazing. So learning to use the mind and using its manifestation capacities is part of this magic, I think.
Absolutely.
And in yoga, if you are to follow this Vedic science, we're talking a lot about, pretty much in all spiritual sciences and all religions, you're not supposed to be preoccupied with the result. You're supposed to launch the magic. Let it do its work.
That's the flow. Be the flow.
Yes.
Got to be the flow.
So working with the mind, it's the place where you can actually use your magic most of the time. And when you are in a positive and in a empowered state, because we are having these fluctuations. When you are in the most not positive but more balanced state, then you can use all these tools. And this is, I remember one day I was coming from one of my contracts. Was it in Portugal or in Spain? It was in Portugal. And I was at the airport at the terminal, and I was so empowered after my few weeks there, and I had given a training in Ayurveda. So everything was so smooth and so positive. I was so into it. And as I was at the airport, I was using everything. I was just using all these NLP tools. I would create all kind of things in my body. I would just allow the energy to move up and down and back and forth. And I will just add bubbles of energy and sparkles on top of everybody waiting in the line just to see what happens. And so this is the magic that you can use when you are in a good balanced state. And this is where is the importance to learn tools like that and use the mind, I think. And in all the Ayurvedic texts, and it's actually, I think, Dr. David Frawley who said that basically the entire life is about how to use the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you learn how to use it, the more you are mastering your reality rather than being a victim. Call it karma, or calling bad destiny or something. So the more you're using the abilities of your mind, the more you go into that magic, I think.
Absolutely. I firmly believe the mind rules the body. The mind, let's not say rules, the mind leads the body. The mind absolutely leads the body. So in physical terms. So placebo effect, it's there to see, isn't it?
Yes.
Here's your pill. It might be the cure for your problem, or it might be a sugar pill. Okay, let's pop it in. Oh, look, problem's gone, but it was a sugar pill.
Yeah.
Definitely the mind, takes control. So what I'd like to just go back to that moment of feeling powerless.
Yeah.
That shift, because this is at the crux of it. When you're, how do you shift? Even how do you shift downwards out of the bubble? How do you even do that when you're just steeped in misery and doom and gloom?
Exactly.
And I'd like to suggest for this mantra, if you like, just to get the mind shifted a bit. So this would be saying, even though I feel powerless, I am powerful. Where is my power in this moment?
Oh, I like that.
And then, so you can, so that's three things.
Even
though you acknowledge I'm feeling powerless.
Yeah, I am powerful.
But I am powerful. So where is my power in this moment?
That's right.
And that power might be the dropping through the bottom of the bubble. The power might be going to bed. Just go to bed.
You know what? By what you're saying as well, yet again, you're asking for help above.
Yes.
For help. And I think the power is in asking, because to ask for help is the most powerful thing we can do. To accept that we need a connection, we need something to help us lift, and whether
and it has to be outside. It has to be outside of us. If we are down on the ground, what use are we to ourselves?
Absolutely.
It's got to come from outside.
Yeah, we all need each other, and that's the whole beauty of this planet, and that is the magic of this planet. We are an animal species, and an animal species, they need each other to survive. We are an animal species, and we need each other. Like, it's not, this is where the magic is. And in that connection, in that beauty of life, like, that is power. We are the power. We're there.
I think Danielle is another definition of, or the personification of magic.
Yes. She is.
Well, coming back to what Linda was saying and what to do, indeed, I think You see, the way we produce a shift, you have to think of these states, that the states of despair and these very low states are most of the times they are part of the unconscious, right? They're there for a while, and there's something that is cyclical. It's a program pattern, whatever it is. And so when we are dealing with them, when they're at the surface, it's very hard to chase them away. It is as if you were dealing with a 5 or 6 year old child having a crisis. You can't just take him and put him in another room, shut the door and get out of here. You don't do that with a 5 years old unless you have a problem. So it takes the same sort of, that's why many parents, I find I had a client yesterday, have hard time with dealing with their children around 5 or 6 when they start to do the tantrums and to express their personality and become very rebellious, and they don't want to follow or to listen or to, it is because they have hard times with dealing with their own unconscious. So when you understand how the unconscious work and you just have a few tools to use them, then you can apply them and perhaps you get some results. Such as for instance, if you want to chase it away and I choose to shift it, you won't work. If you want to get rid of it, you won't work. But if you acknowledge it and name it in a very impersonal way and then do something with awareness, that may change something.
Yeah.
For instance, if you feel completely down and discouraged, you can say, well, this is feeling discouraged. At least name it. And then take a deep breath and then just stay in that silence. Stay in that silence with that particular state and breathe consciously through it. And that in itself can change something. And then say something like Linda said, what is, because usually it's in regards to some situations, in regards to something, that particular state, right? So then just say, I want to know what's true about this.
Yeah.
Just use something neutral rather than saying right away, I feel powerful. Like, I like the way you put it. You ask the question, because when you ask, it's easier to accept rather than say, I feel powerful. You won't feel powerful. But if you're curious, okay, where is my power now? What is true about this? I think question versus a sort of a conclusion or a rigid point of view works better in changing a state. So step 1, acknowledge, name it. This is depression. Take a conscious breath, and then what can I do now? What else is possible now? Where is my power? What would I like to feel instead?
Where am I feeling it? Where in my body? What can I change?
Exactly?
Yes. Can I change the color? Can I shift it outside my body maybe and speak to it? Can I speak to it? Is there a voice? Is there, and that's absolutely beautiful. I love that.
Can I get it out of my body and sit it next to me and talk to it?
Yeah.
Is that Kate's
and negotiate,
street, right? Because she's very good with this.
Kate, yeah, and the bench, yeah.
Yeah, I love that bench analogy, actually, what she does, Kate.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. Do you know, when she did that for me once, but she did it for all of us, didn't she, Linda?
She did, yes, she did.
And that was one of the most intense NLP experiences that I'd ever had, actually, because it was so visual. I'm going to get Kate to do it next time. Next time we do a show with Kate.
Yes, and she's on, yeah.
I think it's important because that's so powerful, that is.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's visualizing everything. I mean, like, to explain a little bit, but Kate will do it. But it's literally anything that's inside you that is depression, all the little things that they're creating it. You're putting it outside your body. You're letting it sit next to you on the bench, and isn't it? So then you talk to it, and
just talk to it. You can ask it questions. You can share your own feelings about it. You can. I think it usually begins from it because it's a part of us.
That's right.
Isn't it? That is what she is. So that's what she's taught me. It's a part of us, and we should never deny any part of us. Yeah. Otherwise, we end up fractured, don't we? We will end up fractured. And I have always done that. I've always been a warrior. This is my first, weapon. I've got the sword and the shield and everything, and I'm going to cut it out and get rid of it. And she's helped me to learn that you don't need to do that. You don't have to keep the results of it, but you don't need to get rid of it, because in truth, it was a part of you.
Yeah.
And you can talk with those parts. She's amazing. I know I
You're all
probably
up.
speak every week about her course, but her course, Selfish Freedom, whenever you see it available, anybody listening, you've got to book onto it. It is amazing. And she's got a raft of amazing techniques.
See, that's the thing. That's why I feel so blessed, because all of you, like Susie, Linda, Kate, Anna, like everyone that we've spoken with, there's such I learn so much every single time. And you're all incredible human beings. Like, you are incredible at what you do, and how the words that you say, and you're inspiring, and you're real therapy. There you go. That is
that's real therapy, isn't it? Yeah, it's true. And I think we all feel that, having spoken individually to any of the others, we all get something out of this Friday. This is why I'm on it. I know I took a long time off when my vibrations were exceedingly low. I was at the bottom of that bubble, but I didn't know to go through. But after that, it's as important to me is this time on a Friday as my own therapy session, because there's always something to be picked up, to be learned from any of us.
Absolutely.
From anybody speaking. We're reading from the same page, but we don't say the same words.
Yeah. Different.
So there's always something.
It's beautiful. Yes, I love this, because if everybody was saying the same thing all the time, it would be boring. So it's good. It's good. This interaction. I love it. And this is exactly where magic happens, in this interaction and these different points of view. And diversity is good. It's good that we're different. It's good that we have different backgrounds. It's good that there are different spiritual paths, and it's good that there's because it's in the interaction that magic happens. It's in the interaction that we grow. And so it's necessary. If we all become uniform and the same, it's a really dangerous place to go. And I think in this context, from what we just said, what you girls have just said, I think the best definition of magic, if we are to define it as happening in the mind, I think the best magical tool is NLP.
Yes.
It's really the most magical tool. And I've been practicing with other methods and with Ayurveda and many other things. But to me, the most extraordinary results with my clients came through NLP, and with myself, of course, because it's there that you make things disappear. Absolutely. Include magic, exclude fear, include courage, include whatever you want. You put it in there. Create an image for it, create a taste for it, create, as you said, right at the beginning, Danielle, see yourself doing, imagine yourself having it, start to manifest it in your life. And then, that's the magic. The magic is in the mind and in the interaction. And what else we said, it's in the space.
And what's especially magical about it is it is the client who does the work.
Yes.
It is always the client who gets their results. We guide them, we know how to guide them, and we know when they're going off track, and we know how to get them back. And we've got all these processes and techniques and things that we know will get them there. But it is the client doing the work. And I love that time when you're waiting, particularly with something like timeline, where you're asking them to give you their learnings. What have they learned now? Now that you've done all this fancy footwork, what have they learned? And you're watching them, even on the screen. I always work by Zoom, so it's always on the screen. And I'm usually right up here watching them and watching their face, and they have their eyes closed. And you can see, and I'm so touched at that moment, because I think, this is my client working. She's working for her results. And I'm so honored to be allowed to be a part of that. And that's magic, isn't it? That is just magic.
That is pure magic.
Just
I had sorry, Linda.
Plucking things out of thin air.
Your internet's cutting a little bit. That's all. That's why I'm kind of going.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's not your fault. That's magic. Let's just magic that.
Yeah, the internet.
Let's magic that internet problem away now. That'll be gone. I had a client recently, actually. She was a young girl, and she was very depressed. And I found that thought interruption worked really well with her, because she would start talking and then spiral down, and then I would interrupt her thought. And then she'd kind of like take notice that she was going that way. Oh, okay, yeah. And then start talking again on a level, and then it would start floating down again. And yet again, I'd thought interrupt her, just to make her awareness of the dragging down. And I had a session with her, and she went from a completely depressed to wearing colours and just being a teenager again. And after a week, because all the work, she allowed it. Once she
allowed it,
she recognized her patterns. Her patterns were bringing her down. And once that's recognized, you can take control of that in yourself then. And then you can start accepting and listening and learning and growing. I think that's so great. That was magic. That's magic. 1 week. In fact, 1 hour, really. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. Magic.
Yeah, people embracing and awakening to their divine nature. It's magic. And witnessing, like Linda said, it to me too, it's very, very touching. And I'm always very grateful being able to witness somebody who is choosing something else, somebody who feels more empowered, somebody who can play more with life rather than struggling and enduring, just being a victim of patterns. I think to me is the most rewarding, and it's the most magical thing in the world, watching people transforming themselves. Because before getting that car and buying that bigger house, which is important, it's still that inner transformation, and you getting to be more and more a real human being.
Becoming a rose, growing, opening out.
Yes, blossoming and exploring more and more of who you are and what a human being can do and can be. Actually, raise your level of awareness, your vibration, and embracing more the human nature. Like really becoming a human being. Because I'm not sure we're there yet.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's magic. That's the real magic.
That is the real magic.
Inner transformation. Yeah.
Yeah, inner transformation. On that note, we've done an hour, and it's been an absolutely magical hour.
It's magical.
It really has. And everyone that's watching, I really do hope that you got something from this, because I flipping did. I had an absolutely
too.
And you know what? The most magical thing out of everything as well is love. Love. It's it. That's the
we should be talking about that soon. Love.
We will do. Oh, we shall, Susie. Yes. So on that note, I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful bank holiday weekend. Happy Easter weekend to our European neighbours and friends.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Susie, happy Easter, darling. And have a wonderful bank holiday. Enjoy, hopefully, a bit of sunshine, because there is sun today, And bring in more magic to your lives. And on that note, love. We'll see you all next week, please God.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, my darling. So let's just end live. Live stream stopped. Oh, that really was bloody brilliant.